The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." You've probably heard the saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Today, we're going to explore that idea through a Stoic lens. We will discuss the 7 types of people who can derail your progress in Stoic philosophy and how to navigate these challenging relationships. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you would like the video so that you can help me to continue spreading the Stoic philosophy. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any video. Type of people 1. The complainer. We all have that friend, family member, or co-worker who seems to find fault in everything. Whether it's the weather, their job, or even the food at a popular restaurant, they never miss an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. Now you might wonder, why should this concern me? I can just ignore them. Well, that's easier said than done. Consistent exposure to such negativity has a draining effect on your mental well-being. It's akin to a leaky faucet, slowly depleting your reservoir of emotional energy. Stoicism teaches us to focus on actionable solutions instead of dwelling on problems. For example, imagine you're collaborating on a project with someone who is a perpetual complainer. Each meeting turns into an exhausting session of complaints without any constructive dialogue. The impact? The team's morale declines, you're sidetracked from finding actionable solutions, and you'll likely find yourself increasingly disenchanted with the project and possibly even life in general. So how does Stoicism help us deal with a complainer? There are several strategies you can employ. First, limit your exposure to this individual whenever you can. If that's not possible, perhaps because they're a family member or colleague, then your second option is to mentally distance yourself during their diatribes. Think of their complaints as a passing storm, loud and unsettling, but ultimately temporary and powerless against the unmovable mountain that is your own inner tranquility. Your third option is to steer the conversation towards solutions or to change the subject to something more constructive. To quote Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This timeless Stoic wisdom encourages us to guard our mental peace diligently, ensuring that the negativity from chronic complainers doesn't deviate us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Type of people 2. The drama magnet. Imagine you're navigating your life as if it were a ship sailing through calm waters, but then you encounter the whirlpool known as the drama magnet. This individual seems to have an unending series of crises, conflicts, or controversies. And like a whirlpool, they have an unsettling ability to suck you into their vortex of chaos. You might initially find yourself attracted to the drama magnet's energy, mistaking it for passion or excitement. However, you'll soon realize that being in their sphere is like navigating a ship through a storm, exhausting and dangerous. What makes dealing with drama magnets so tricky is that their crises can often feel like your own. Their chaos is infectious, and you might even find yourself embroiled in conflicts that you had no initial part in. Let's take a practical example. You have a friend who has frequent fallouts with others in your social circle. Today they're not talking to Sarah, tomorrow it's Tom. Your friend comes to you for advice, but you notice that this cycle never ends. And suddenly, you find yourself also at odds with Sarah or Tom because you tried to intervene. In this case, you could employ a strategy called reflective listening. Instead of offering advice or taking sides, mirror their words back to them. For example, if they say, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you could respond with, "So you're feeling betrayed by Sarah's words." This technique allows you to provide emotional support without getting entangled in the drama yourself. Another approach, and one that might sound counterintuitive, is to become selectively unavailable. Stoicism reminds us to value our time highly, and sometimes that means being unavailable for other people's crises, especially if they are recurring without resolution. Turn off your phone during certain hours. Create focus periods where you concentrate solely on your work or personal development, and let it be known that during these times, you're not to be disturbed. To paraphrase Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. This can be particularly helpful when dealing with drama magnets. Instead of anxiously wondering what crisis will happen next, concentrate on the present moment where you have control. Enjoy your life and don't let it be disrupted by someone else's drama. Make it a point to sail your ship calmly, steering clear of whirlpools that threaten your voyage towards personal growth and tranquility. Type of people 3. The naysayer picture. You're an artist painting a canvas. Each brushstroke adds color, depth, and life to your vision. Enter the naysayer. They walk into your studio, glance at your work, and immediately begin to critique it. Are you sure about that color? That doesn't look realistic. You know, most artists never make it, right? Their words, like strokes of gray paint, start to dull your vibrant canvas. This isn't your standard constructive criticism, which can be valuable. Instead, it's a persistent aura of doubt and negativity. For example, let's say you're excited about pursuing a new career path. You've done your research, spoken to professionals in the field, and maybe even taken a few preliminary courses. When you share your enthusiasm with the naysayer, they quickly list all the reasons it won't work out. The market is too competitive. Do you have the right skills? What if you fail? Soon enough, their doubts start to feel like your own, and the self-assured vision you had starts to wobble. Now, how do you deal with the naysayer, especially when they might be someone close to you? One unconventional but effective method is to ask them for advice rather than just sharing your plans or aspirations. When people are put in an advisory role, they're less likely to attack your ideas outright and may offer more constructive feedback. Another method involves flipping the script through a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of absorbing their negativity, challenge them to think of solutions. If they say, "You'll never be able to switch careers at this stage," counter with, "Interesting perspective. How do you think someone could successfully make a career change then?" This not only deflects the negativity, but also encourages a more constructive form of conversation. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listening doesn't mean absorbing everyone's negativity. It means discerning valuable input from mere noise. When the naysayers start to cloud your canvas with their shades of doubt, take a step back. Listen, reflect, and continue painting your own life with the colors that speak to you. Don't let anyone turn your vibrant masterpiece into a dull gray landscape. Type of people 4. The victim. Imagine life as a game of chess. Each player has the same pieces and the same goal: to checkmate the opponent's king. You think strategically, make some sacrifices, and take some risks. The victim, however, blames the board, the pieces, or even their opponent for every poor move they make. In their eyes, they're perpetually in checkmate, not because of their choices, but because of some external force working against them. Their narrative is a never-ending tale of woe, with themselves cast as the helpless protagonist. I can't get ahead in my job because my boss dislikes me, or I can't get fit because I have bad genetics. Now, it's crucial to note that some people face genuine hardships and systemic issues. However, the victim we're discussing uses their predicament as a permanent excuse, refusing to take any responsibility for their actions or lack thereof. You might find yourself entangled in their storyline, perhaps as the supporting character who constantly needs to rescue them. Let's say you've spent countless hours listening to a friend blame their endless string of failed relationships entirely on their ex-partners. Not only does this suck up your time, but it can also subtly encourage you to adopt a similar victim mindset in your own life. So, what's your move when dealing with a victim? It might be tempting to become their savior, offering endless advice and emotional support. But the Stoics would caution against this. They'd recommend drawing a firm boundary to protect your own mental state. You could employ a technique known as compassionate detachment. Show empathy and kindness, but don't try to rescue them from situations they need to to navigate themselves. Offer a listening ear, but refrain from becoming their perpetual problem solver. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." If you find yourself sucked into the victim's narrative, resist the urge to become one yourself. Take control of your own game board, make your moves, and remember, in the chess game of life, being perpetually in checkmate is often a choice, not a fate. Keep your pieces moving forward, make strategic sacrifices when necessary, and play not for revenge or pity, but for growth and wisdom. Type of people 5, the toxic positivist. You know this person. They're always exuding sunshine, rainbows, and endless streams of emojis. They're the ones telling you to just be happy when you're going through a difficult period, dismissing your feelings and experiences with a flippant wave of glittery optimism. Imagine your life as a garden. There are flowers, but there are also weeds and pests. The toxic positivist insists on ignoring the pests and the weeds, pretending everything is perpetually in full bloom. The problem with toxic positivity is that it invalidates genuine emotions and struggles. Suppose you're going through a tough breakup, feeling heartache and confusion. You confide in a friend who's a toxic positivist, and they respond with, "Just look on the bright side, plenty of fish in the sea." Their response, although well-intentioned, dismisses your very real pain and can leave you feeling even more isolated. How does Stoicism suggest we handle toxic positivity? The first step is to acknowledge the validity of your own emotions. Stoicism doesn't teach us to suppress our feelings, but to understand and regulate them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This doesn't mean you ignore your pain, but that you reframe your response to it. When dealing with a toxic positivist, you might try to gently guide the conversation towards a more balanced perspective. You can say something like, "I appreciate your optimism, but I also need to process these feelings." By doing so, you assert the validity of your emotions while also steering the dialogue towards a healthier middle ground. Another tactic is to create space for your emotions to be expressed and validated, away from the toxic positivist's influence. Journaling, talking to a more empathetic friend, or seeking support from a therapist can provide the validation you're not getting from the toxic positivist. In essence, dealing with toxic positivity involves striking a balance between recognizing genuine hardships and not succumbing to negativity. By practicing this balance, you can cultivate a garden that flourishes with authenticity and resilience, rather than one overshadowed by unrealistic expectations of perpetual sunshine. Type of people 6, the manipulator. Imagine you're a knight on a noble quest, equipped with armor and a clear moral compass. Suddenly, you encounter a manipulator. They are the sorcerer, adept at spinning illusions and twisting truths to serve their own ends. The manipulator excels in the art of subtle control. They pull strings behind the scenes, convincing you that their desires align with your best interests. For example, you might have a colleague who always seems to get others to do their work. They frame their requests in a way that makes refusal feel impossible. "Could you handle this report for me? You're so much better at it, and I have this urgent meeting." Flattery and feigned helplessness are their tools. The next thing you know, you're overloaded with their tasks while they bask in their free time. How does Stoicism advise us to handle manipulators? The answer lies in the virtue of wisdom, particularly in discernment. Epictetus teaches us to clearly see what is within our control and what is not. Manipulators rely on our inability to recognize this boundary. Firstly, cultivate a keen awareness of your emotions and reactions. Manipulators often target our emotions to elicit desired responses. When you feel pressured or flattered, take a step back. Reflect on the situation with a clear mind. What is truly being asked of you? Are you acting out of your own volition or because of subtle coercion? Secondly, establish firm personal boundaries. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. If the manipulator asks for a favor, evaluate it against your priorities and capabilities. You are not obligated to take on tasks that serve their agenda at the cost of your well-being. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, live your values assertively and transparently. When you demonstrate unshakable integrity and clarity, manipulators find it harder to distort your reality. By practicing wisdom and maintaining strong boundaries, you can navigate around the illusions spun by manipulators, keeping your quest honorable and your path clear. Type of people 7. The envious. Imagine life as a garden where you diligently tend to your plants, nurturing them with care and dedication. Then there's the envious person, a weed in the garden whose presence can choke the life out of your flourishing plants. Envy is a toxic emotion, both for the person feeling it and those around them. An envious person resents others' success and happiness. Instead of celebrating with you, they feel bitterness and jealousy. Suppose you receive a promotion at work. Instead of congratulating you, the envious colleague downplays your achievement, making passive-aggressive remarks or spreading rumors to tarnish your reputation. How does Stoicism help us handle envy, whether it's our own or someone else's directed at us? The first step is understanding that envy stems from a sense of personal inadequacy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Recognize that the envious person is struggling with their own sense of lack. When dealing with someone else's envy, it helps to practice compassion. Instead of reacting defensively to their passive-aggressive comments or rumors, understand that their behavior is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not your worth. Respond with kindness, but also protect yourself from their negativity by limiting your interactions when possible. If you find yourself feeling envious, Stoicism offers powerful tools to overcome this destructive emotion. Focus on gratitude and the abundance in your own life. Reflect on your achievements, however small they may seem. Practice the art of contentment, recognizing that external success does not equate to inner peace or happiness. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By cultivating a mindset of gratitude and contentment, you can weed out envy from your garden, allowing your true self to flourish in tranquility and joy. In conclusion, navigating relationships with these 7 types of people can be challenging. However, by applying Stoic principles, you can maintain your inner peace and stay true to your values. Remember to practice discernment, set firm boundaries, and cultivate compassion and gratitude. As you continue on your Stoic journey, surround yourself with those who uplift and inspire you, and let go of those who drain your energy and derail your progress. Thank you for watching, and stay resilient on your path to Stoic wisdom.